It's a book I wrote. I even signed it. That makes it a collector's item.
I want to know what kind of person they were and where the sword and shield are now. And what does it have to do with Dynamaxing?
Alright Pokemon, explain yourselves. The Galar region home to Pokemon Sword and Shield was heavily influenced by a real-world location just like any other game that came before it. Galar is based on the United Kingdom and it wears that inspiration on its sleeve in every aspect we see. And when the games were first revealed, the fan community loved it, even spawning countless memes of Scottish Gloria during the lead up to release.
It's Tuesday and it's... Yeah, I'll chill your arms off your duck.
Of course, there was no voice acting in the actual game, but when we did finally get to hear the characters speak,
Sonia's my name. Nice to meet you.
they had no accents. Now, it's not like they needed them in the first place. For one thing, Pokemon does have many other regions that take influence from different countries. In the real world, they speak different languages, Japanese, English, French, Spanish, but in the world of Pokemon, it's a fictional, idealized planet with a single common language across all regions. You know, for the sake of making things easy. Language is important to the fans playing the games and watching the anime, but it's not important to the characters traveling around and raising their Pokemon. Really, I think their anime portrayal would have been just fine, but the problem is that they're inconsistent across all the media in the franchise. While the main series games don't have voice acting, the way that the text is written implies that they speak as if they had British accents. The English dub of the anime was the first real deviation, as when Galarian characters were introduced, they spoke with American English accents. The reason I feel that this was done is because the Pokemon Journeys anime is targeted toward children, and the people in charge of overseeing the dubbing likely thought that a different accent would make the characters seem too foreign, thus not as relatable or likable. Those aren't my opinions, those are just what executives tend to think when it comes to animation. And even though English is spoken and understood in a good amount of countries worldwide, most English media is created in the United States, thus American English is already pretty universally known. There is also the fact that, to my knowledge, in the original Japanese audio, the Galarian characters weren't given any direction to put on any sort of accent. That's all at least my reasoning as to why they sound the way they do in the English dub, so it's all just speculation. I honestly wouldn't mind either way, but the fact is that the English localization of the video games came first and already set the expectations. When we later got to the Pokemon anime spin-off Twilight Wings, they mostly kept the same logic. With this series being meant for a teen to adult audience, the whole "it's for kids" excuse really doesn't work here, even though YouTube apparently disagrees about the target audience. But they still chose to have the characters speak with an American English accent when it came to the dub. This series does also have different voice actors from the main anime, so it's not like they were trying to remain consistent. This was a conscious choice as a standalone project. And now we come to Pokemon Masters, a spin-off game that does have voice acting. And here the characters do finally have British accents.
Hello, I'm Gloria. I'm from a small town in Galar called Postwick. Pleased to meet ya.
Hey there, I'm Sonia. I've been on a journey to solve the Galar region's biggest mysteries.
My name's Nessa. I'm the gym leader of Herbury over in Galar. Pleased to meet you.
The name's Gordy. Our battles are bound to get the crowd going.
I feel that the reasoning for this is because Pokemon Masters tends to have a finger on the pulse of what fans want to see in the franchise. So I'm guessing that this was more fan service than anything, but I'm very happy that they decided to go along with this. Then again, do remember that based on the text dialogue of the main series video games, this is literally just being consistent with how the characters are meant to speak. Ultimately, I feel like we can see all of these as different continuities for the most part. The Pokemon anime is 100% its own thing, so it can exist as such. Pokemon Masters tends to serve as a way to enhance the characters of the main series video games so they work together. The only outlier here would be Twilight Wings, because unlike Pokemon Journeys, this is meant to be the same canon as the video games, just like the other spin-off anime series, Generations, Evolutions, and so on. Twilight Wings is basically meant to do the exact same thing that Pokemon Masters does, enhancing the main series games by giving us different looks at these characters. And like I said, Twilight Wings is basically canon to the Sword and Shield video games. So at the end of the day, if you ask me, does Sonia have a British accent? I would answer yes. Even though her American accent sounds cuter, don't at me. But let me know what you think about this whole situation and which voices you prefer the most of these Galarian characters. Anyway, I've gotta be off. Hope you all have a lovely Tuesday. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the Great Gators, Brandon Mork, Cheeseburger Lasers, Gavnuts, Green Topaz 213, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Largos, Michaela, Mochizuki Yoru, Nomad Nobi, Quago, Taijirai, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get a shout out here as well as access to emotes for comments and live streams, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes, but anyway, this has been GatorX. I'll catch you all later.
Coming soon to Nintendo Switch. Pokémon Sword and Pokémon Shield. Catch, battle, and trade never-before-seen Pokémon. Explore a new region and discover more only on Nintendo Switch. Pokémon Sword and Pokémon Shield. Games rated E for everyone.